the bad news is that Merrick Garland couldn't handle a shot of raspberry schnapps, much less an investigation into a former president. Good news is Jack Smith is doing the grown-up work now. And Trump is the easiest person to investigate ever of all time. Not only does he constantly confess to the crimes that he must be investigated for, but he has a habit of doing it on TV, on what is now the second most watched news network on television. Side note, we should call around to military bases. If you have anybody in the military, call around to military bases. There's really not that many of them. And I think we got Selfridge Air Base near me. Give them a call and make sure that they're following the policy that they had of only playing the most popular, the most watched news agency in their bases. They were doing that as an excuse to have Fox playing, basically insanity propaganda playing. Well, right now, that title goes to MSNBC. So make sure your local military base is following their own rules. And if nothing else, it'll be to make somebody with a buzz cut squirm. But I digress. Trump confessed again. Yeah, I'm sure you all have seen this interview he did on Fox. But it's worth repeating. And Brian Tyler Cohen, God bless him, has started including links to actually get things done. We're including that same link in our channel, and we're watching Brian Tyler Cohen's breakdown of this because he does a good one.
I don't want to dwell on it, but according to the indictment, you were here at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were recorded saying that you had a document detailing a plan of attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president, the Iran attack plan. You remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know. This is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. You know this is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this on tape
it says just the opposit,
that you can't declassify it. So why have it?
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that.
First of all, this guy just cannot. Once you realize that Trump really doesn't have any original ideas, it becomes so easy to just understand everything that's happening. What he's thinking is, I made a lot of bones about that. He says the opposite of what is true constantly. I never made any bones about that. For the record, for all of those folks who and God help me, there's a lot of them. But if you have an insane person in your life who believes that Trump is secretly the president, what did he just say? I wasn't the president. Neat. Let's put that particular brand of crazy to bed. Trump himself, their God King, just said he wasn't the president after his failed coup. Good to know. Really, really drive that home.
When I'm not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said.
One more time for the kids in the back. When I'm not president. Neat.
You didn't declassify it.
I said no. I said I couldn't.
Could have
but that wasn't a
declassified it.
document, Brett. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying what the indictment says.
Well,
the recording
these people,
and the
look,
people in the room who
these
testified.
people are very dishonest people. They're thugs. They're thugs. If you look at what they've done to other people, what they've done to, and overturned in the U.S. Supreme Court, these are thugs.
I mean, it's amazing. So, of course, it's truly this childish. It's the rubber glue sentiment. Everything he's saying about his political rivals is true of him. They're thugs. The GOP are thugs. If you look at what they've done to people and what they've overturned in the courts, it's a nightmare. It's amazing.
The suggestion was that you wanted this as evidence
These are dishonest people. Ooh.
that the military, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, had preemptively sent you plans for a possible attack on Iran and that you didn't order that to happen. That's the
I
suggestion.
never ordered it to happen, no.
But
No.
that's why you wanted the document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley. Milley, frankly, was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack with as my leader would be Milley.
Side note, there's a beautiful part in that interview where I feel not right about sharing anything from Fox. We might. It's too juicy. But anyway, where Brett Baer asks Trump, "You said you were going to hire the best people," and he just rattles off all the things Trump insulted his former staff with, because all of them are saying this guy really shouldn't be president. And Trump really has no answer. All he says in response is like, well, I also hired a bunch of good folks. Amazing, though, that you don't really see a lot of those folks. You don't really see a lot of people who want to have respectable jobs in the future saying that Trump didn't do anything wrong. Because, to have a respectable job in the future, you have to be able to be taken seriously.
They did ask for it.
No, and
they said,
I gave
"Can you
them
give the
some."
I'm ready for
documents
Brian.
back?"
Come on.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
Which
back.
they've never done before.
Right.
And in
But
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
because
All right, he's about to confess right there. Before he does, though. Oh, just before he does. One more time.
You to get them
which
back.
they've never done before.
I can't believe that they're pointing guns at me, the SWAT team, just because I have a gun to the head of my maid and I'm trying to stay out of prison. They've never done this before. They've never pointed guns at a former president when he took a hostage. That's never happened before. Yeah, we haven't had a former president that was this blatantly criminal before, is the issue.
Right.
And in
But
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my
There you
personal
go.
things out. I don't want to hand that over to Nara yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've been
according to
And we're going to get Brian Tyler Cohen in a moment. I do want to watch a couple minutes of what he has to say because it's real good. He just said, I didn't give them back when asked because I didn't want to. There it is. That's it. Done. I mean, look, there's other things to prove in this. You have to prove what were these documents? Did the government truly have a right to them? So on, so forth. Not terribly hard to prove. Here were the files listed. Here are their titles and yada yada. Here's the marks that say they are what they are. Here's who owns them. Only thing Trump really could have tried for, which I'm sure his lawyers were begging to leave open as an avenue, was that that he didn't know he had them, that he was just foolish, that he was just only irresponsible with them, as opposed to being irresponsible and willfully defying a legal order, a command from the U.S. government to return U.S. government property. So the question is, was it U.S. government property? Did they ask Trump for it back? Did he give it back? In court, they're going to spend a hell of a lot of time establishing, was it U.S. Well, they're going to spend 5 minutes, but for every document, establishing, was this U.S. government property? Yes, 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 yes. In other words, they were the ones that owned it, not Trump. And then they're going to probably play this interview when it comes to, did Trump willfully retain them? Did he intentionally retain them? Yes. Yes, he did. There he is saying it. I mean, there is one thing I continually say I will forever be grateful, God help me, to Donald Trump for, which is lampshading how obscene our system of justice is in the United States. I noticed that the Republican talking point has been two-tiered system of justice. Oh, a two-tiered system of justice. But remember, they always build their talking points around the critiques they know they're going to be getting, so that it all just seems like, it's just politics. This is something that has been exposed for all to see, and they can tell. One thing these sharks are good at is smelling the blood in the water. They can tell that the American people are starting to wonder, what the hell do you have to do to get arrested once you're a rich, powerful guy? Apparently a hell of a lot. And so their newest talking point is two-tiered. Meh. I believe meh was actually in a GOP email. Maybe not. I'll have to look back at it. But nonetheless, it's delightful. All right, Brian, hit us with the breakdown.
The indictment, you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send
Obstructing
boxes over,
justice.
I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things. Golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes. There were many things. I would say much more, not that I know of, but everything was declassified. And Biden didn't have the right to do that because he wasn't president. Nor did Mike Pence, by the way, have the right.
Not that I know of. So good.
To do that because he wasn't president.
And there it is. Trump confesses that he didn't want to hand over boxes of classified documents that he'd unlawfully retained because he was, quote, very busy. And then when confronted on the fact that he told his aide, who was Walt Nauta, to move his boxes to a different location while telling his attorney that he'd fully complied with the subpoena, which, to be clear, is a crime, Trump says that he needed to go through the boxes. In other words, he didn't deny committing the crimes at all and instead tried to justify them. And look, I'm not here to give any free legal advice to Donald Trump, but someone on his payroll might have considered reminding him that he has the right to stay silent. And just to be perfectly clear, these are the charges that Trump just effectively confessed to on air. Conspiracy to obstruct justice, wherein Trump and Walt Nauta conspired to keep these documents from the grand jury. Withholding a document or record, wherein Trump and Nauta misled one of their attorneys by moving boxes of classified documents so that attorney couldn't introduce them to the grand jury. Corruptly concealing a document or record, wherein Trump and Nauta hid boxes of classified documents from the attorney. Concealing a document in a federal investigation, wherein Trump and Nauta hid Trump's continued possession of those documents at Mar-a-Lago from the FBI, causing a false certificate to be submitted. Scheme to conceal, wherein Trump and Nauta hid Trump's continued possession of those materials from the FBI and grand jury. False statements and representations, wherein Trump caused one of his attorneys to make an inaccurate statement to the FBI and grand jury regarding the results of the Mar-a-Lago search. And another false statements charge, wherein Nauta gave false answers during a voluntary interview with the FBI. But hey, I guess since Trump needed to go through them, then that should definitely totally be acceptable as far as excuses go, right? And not to humor Trump's absurd defenses here, but in terms of needing time to go through these documents, he had over a year How much time do you need to separate the thing that says top secret or highly classified from his golf shirt? And why not do it when the National Archives first requested them? Or why not do it when a subpoena was issued? Or why not do it instead of bringing in a lawyer to draft a false attestation? Or why not do it instead of assembling a crew of people to do a dress rehearsal for the execution of the search warrant by the FBI? It seems like Trump had plenty of time to think about ways to defy the law, and yet no time to actually follow it.
No notes for Mr. Brian Tyler Cohen. I mean, we've all heard this stuff. We know what happened now. Odds are, if you're watching this show, you know that Trump did all those things. He obstructed justice yet again, and again, and again, and again, and again. He has no respect for the law. He has no respect for the rules you and I have to live by. He thinks he is above them, and he thinks further that he should get to make the rules for you. He wants to be a king in the United States of America. Before even the Magna Carta, he wants to be an old school king. He wants to be a tyrant. We don't cotton to that round these parts. At least that's what I've been told. Brian Tyler Cohen did something lovely that I want to encourage y'all to do. There's a link in the description of this here video. It is to a petition asking Judge Aileen Cannon to recuse herself. She won't. But why should she? She should because she has demonstrated a bias in this very case regarding Donald Trump. I saw the Midas Touch Network saying, "Oh, you gotta respect that she's doing things right." To be clear, the thing I'm concerned about, the thing that I'm quite sure she's going to do, is wait till the end of this thing and then go as easy on Trump as she can possibly get away with, possibly even throwing him bones to delay it whenever she can. Not giving Jack Smith an excuse to toss her off the case, and the longer she's on it, the harder it's going to be. So she's getting dug in like a tick, and that it doesn't bode well. However, we should make it known that we, the people, don't want her there. In every form we can. Telling your representatives? Sure, but there's not much your representatives can do about it. So Brian Tyler Cohen, good egg that he is, included a link in his video, which I've now put in this one. It is to a petition you can sign simply to say Aileen Cannon ought to remove herself from this case. We're going to win through attrition. That's really the only path to take. And at every possible opportunity, we should make it clear how we feel about corruption. And the most important thing is that we should make sure as many people in power understand that we now see the corruption. So I encourage you to sign that petition and take heart, because even Aileen Cannon is going to have a hell of a time trying to turn this into anything where she can look anyone in the eyes and say that Trump is not guilty, because I'll tell you, the man's guilty as sin, or so it would appear according to his own words. You'll love to see it.